I do like a good 13.
Evil homosexuals.
Are you insulting my twink?
Welcome back to Baby Daddies, the podcast where we talk about bed bugs, how to stop the spread of them, how to deal with the spread of them, and whether or not there's a bed in a truck stop bathroom. We're here to talk about For the Love of DILFs Season 3, Episode 5. Amario, how the hell are you today?
I'm doing good. It is very snowy outside. I kind of want to take my
Very.
cat outside and see if he hates it or loves it because he's from Texas, so he ain't never seen nothing like this before. So I'm good. Starting a new job soon. It's snowing and great episode. I'm good.
Amen.
How are you?
I took my cat outside and it said no. She said, went right back inside.
As they do, she just squeezed up, squoze.
Yeah, she's closed. We're at the mid-season. I wanted to do a little check-in with you. How are you feeling about this season so far?
This season, it has been a journey. Part 1 was good. I felt the escalating action. They took their little break. They came back. And part 2, we started at 11. It's only going to go up from here. I do like a good 13, but 11's a good place to start.
11's always a good place to start, I do think the show hit its stride in season 2. I think season 3 is improving upon that. I think it's more refined. It's streamlined. I'm very thoroughly enjoying it. That is what I would have said before I saw this episode. This episode was crazy. As much as I enjoyed this episode also made me uncomfortable. It made me annoyed. It made me mad. Like, it made me feel things, which I guess good TV makes you feel things, right?
It do. I mean,
Right.
Art moves you. Television is art.
You. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get into this. We start the episode with a quote unquote pool party. It's not a lot of partying going on. Let's just say that. On the one side, we've got Vic, Rob, Adonis, and Sam. Robert asks Victor how he's doing. This is a big no-no because
That's a loaded question.
Victor says, you're one of the very few who has checked in. And as he says this, you can see the look on Robert's face drop to the point where he's like, God, why did I even say anything? It's crazy to me because as Victor is introducing the new Victor, it's not only affecting the people you would expect it to affect, like David. We see throughout this episode, it's kind of affecting everyone to the point where, like, on their faces, at least on their faces, it reads as like, get me a scene with anyone else.
I can feel the pain through the television. Like, it is palpable.
Fully, like, please get me a scene with someone else. He said there's a lot of fake girlies in here, which I was cackling at. And he said, a word of advice. Don't sit
on legs.
On the bed of a daddy who was kissing another himbo and didn't change the sheets. Listen, bed bugs from kissing someone on the sheets is insane because you're all sharing couches.
Oh.
If bed bugs are in the mansion, they're in the mansion and you're all getting them. It's not a matter of who's kissing who on which. You're all sharing couches. And even more so, if you look at the interstitials, when the daddies are hanging out in the daddy's den and when the himbos are in the himbo's hole and, and they're like hanging out and stuff like that, you see Victor on other daddies' beds. It's not like Victor is trapped up on his bed. Like, no, he's sitting on other people's beds. He's got people sitting on his bed. He's hanging out with these people like they're friends, right? You know what I mean? So to then go and say, oh, but you can't sit on the bed because he's kissing people because you're going to get bed bugs. Insane. This is the shit the Puritans were saying when they were hunting witches. And you know what? Fuck it. This is the shit Anita Bryant spent half of her life saying.
I knew you were going to bring her up.
Talking about she said the gays are dirty, they're sex crazed, they're immoral, they're criminals. And now you're going to fix your lips to start saying that this thinly veiled metaphor at STD spreading via bed bugs. This is the start of this episode making me feel uncomfortable and pissing me off. I love a villain. I love a villain. Do not get me wrong. I do not think this is the way to go about it.
No, it's not at all. I was going to say the difference between, I guess, the other fake girlies and Victor is there was no kissing when he did it. See, that's what makes a difference. He don't give no bed bug because he didn't kiss. That's what it was.
This is like when mid-pandemic, when people were saying, you know, you open the window in the restaurant, all of a sudden the COVID can't spread. You know what I mean?
They just, yeah, you're right.
That's what you mean. So just because we're not kissing on the bed, that means the bed bugs are going, I'll stay here. I ain't going nowhere.
Listen, they
And
respect the line, okay?
they respect the balance.
Is this a substance reference? Oh, I
It's
had
always a substance
you
reference.
got it before me.
See, I had to get it in early.
I have my notes that Victor went to the Chanel Oberlin School of Virology. Like, in Scream Queens, when she said, you get HPV from drinking the water in Mexico.
Please.
That, when Victor said that, you're like, if you don't change your sheets after kissing a daddy, you're going to get bed bugs. I literally heard Chanel in my head.
It is so insane.
As someone who is a champion of sluts, I felt so shamed. I felt like I could never kiss anyone else and feel safe again.
Listen, this is the tip of the iceberg. We'll talk more
Oh,
about
it gets
this
worse.
because it gets worse. This is how we're starting off, right? And these are our feelings up top, right? So I also wrote here, I was like, is David really being fake toward Victor specifically? Everyone else I don't know, but I feel like David pretty outwardly just doesn't like Victor. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if
Yeah.
there's any, unless we're just not seeing that on camera, but from what I'm getting watching the show, it feels like David pretty openly is like, I don't like you. I'm not going to conversate with you.
Oh my God. Just say
talk. Just say talk.
Oh, just say talk.
Just say talk, girl.
Yeah, I feel like Victor, from what I've seen, I agree with you. I feel like Victor has this made up scenario of like David is talking shit about me. He's spreading lies, slandering my name, and David is just eating chicken, just chilling. Like, he ain't thinking about you.
Or if he is, like, we're not necessarily seeing that on camera, so maybe there's like a disconnect that something's not translating. But for me, it just seems like Victor or David doesn't like Victor on like outwardly on the, you know what I mean? Like, it's just pretty evident.
I'm
I
not
do
racing over to sit with you at lunch. It's like,
yeah, exactly. I think that's it. I mean, it shows there's a reason why he's not on the same side of the scene in this, right? I do think Victor just needs to get over kissing two people thing. We've like been treading this for like 3 episodes already. But we already talked about it, from a proximity standpoint, it was shitty, right? They were right there, it was in like a 10-minute period or whatever. But also we're on a dating show. And I think you're well within your rights on a dating show to explore your options dating and kissing people. It's not like he was full on tonguing their holes. And even if he was, I personally wouldn't care that much. You know what I mean?
I mean, I love a good show, as I've said before.
So. Exactly. On the other side of the pool, we've got Timmy, David, Nick, and Steph. Timmy's feeling a little rough today. They're talking about the elimination, how tough it is to, have to choose someone to send home. And then David brings up strategy again. He's like, it's strategy. I swear to God, it's strategy. I feel like I would respect it more if he was actually the opposite. He was like, you know what? No, they treated me like shit. I sent him home. I sent Danny home. You know what I mean? And then
be real about it.
And then it was like, yeah, sure, there's a little strategy in that, because there is strategy in that, right? That couple has been there from the start and was having that like upward slow burn kind of climb that we like to see in earlier, like season 1. That's kind of not me forgetting the winners' names.
Mateo and Gordon.
Yeah, I was gonna say Canada.
Oh,
I was just gonna say
a boot.
Yeah, about the who's that's the kind of slow burn relationship season 1 about the who's had, So yeah, there is strategy in it, but I also feel like just say, yeah, part of it was personal. It was personal. It was strategy and it was personal. It was both.
It's okay to be personal. I mean, I would want you to be personal. It's a dating show.
Yeah.
Just say half and half, It is what it is.
These people treated me like shit. So when I got the opportunity, I sent one packing. Boom. Because they made me feel bad for having kissed 2 people on a dating show where I haven't settled on anyone yet. I stand on it. That's what I want.
10 toes deep. Yeah. Or 9 if you're missing one.
Yeah. But David thinks that he's chill with Timmy in his eyes. Timmy's like, girl, I don't know her. Don't know her. But we know from our interview.
Never heard of David.
Exactly. But we know from our interview that they talk every day, according to David. So I guess they're chill now. But at the time, don't know.
She didn't know her at the time.
She didn't know her at the time. Now they know each other. Back to the other side of the pool. They talk a bit about what they're looking for in a relationship. Tony, asks Adonis. He said he's looking for communication. This is like the biggest problem anyone has seeking companionship. Communication is always like just hard. between
And
two
there's so
people. Everyone says they want to be open and honest. How many people are actually open? It's like this is like par for the course
it's
for life.
it's just one of those things like you know what you need. Everyone knows what you need, but it's just like getting there is the hardest part.
Getting
If
there
you
is
just
the
open and
hardest
honest
part.
communication, like
Yeah, open and honest communication, even if that involves sending a man to the Carpathian Mountains to sign away your annulment for your marriage, and then he comes back and he has a house and he brings a bunch of rats, and then he starts sucking and humping.
you know what? I'd take rats over bed bugs.
Yeah, I would take Count Orlok over bed bugs.
And listen, I've seen that meat. Okay, you know what? That's another time for another thing. I need to check my orders too. I got something on the way.
He got a
Speaking of
nice deep
those sriracha.
voice, he got money, he buys a mansion, he's got
Hmm.
servants, he's got a servant that eats pigeons' heads. He's got his little Renfield. I don't know. I'm just saying that's a man with assets. It's a man with assets.
It's
We have to continue. There's so much. Robert and Samuel will touch on the Steph situation from yesterday. We get more on this later, but this is kind of like the inkling that we get now before they dive into it
the little
later.
taste, the appetizer.
Yeah. And if you see Victor's face while they're talking about it, he looks aghast. And I know that Victor is holding his breath about Robert making out with Steph because we did the math. And if the math that I'm mathing is correct, that night, David made out with Steph and Timmy. And then Robert made out with Steph as well. You know what I mean? So if the math is mathing, this is the case. And Victor is holding his mouth together. And you want to know why he's holding his mouth together? Because it doesn't serve his narrative. But that's,
Are you saying he's writing his own plot?
he might be. He's a writer. So
Uh,
does not surprise me.
she's a writer.
Tony and Jay, they're so cute together. They're adorable. I literally have written here, I was like, wow, they're cheesing so hard. And literally as I said that, Tony's like, oh, every time we see each other, we're cheesing. It's, oh my God, psychic.
You're a mind reader.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love me some Jay and Tony. Tony says there's more kisses this go around versus season 1 when he was on. And Jay's like, oh, let me call Tokyo real quick. I was like, but also, yes, please call Tokyo.
Yeah, we're going to get into it in our
I want
season 1
Tokyo
recap.
flown out.
I feel like I can't.
3.
I feel like I don't really remember. Now that like season 1 keeps getting referenced because of Tony, I'm like, damn, now I really want to rewatch this first season because I feel like I've forgotten so much of it.
We do need to rewatch it because like one of the biggest moments for me in season 1 is Tokyo just like arguing and then shaking ass at the same time. That was pure reality television for me.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Next we get the new daddy,
Patrick.
But Stormy is like coming out and she says, how's everyone doing tonight? The sun is fully out. It is like maybe 1 p.m. which I just thought it just killed. I don't know why that made me, But then she swaps it to today after. She's like, today, so we're going to get the new daddy. I was like, all right, so whatever. Patrick, he's 34. He's the youngest of the daddies that we have this season. He has spent the last 10 to 14 years traveling around the world. He says daddy isn't an age, it's an experience level, and he likes jumping into uncomfortable situations because that's how you grow. How do you feel about him?
Okay. I have to be real.
I was going to say the same.
I have to be real. I was kind of getting Gordon vibes a little bit, but also I was scrolling through Blue Sky and I swear I saw him like 6 times, or at least versions of him, just like,
Many such cases. He does kind of have like a nondescript face.
Yeah, it was like that. And then the tattoos, like which I'm not shaming the tattoos, not shading, no, they're great tattoos. I'm just saying, just like, I feel like I saw it before. Like I was kind of getting flashbacks of Gordon, but just like different version.
The way he talks about travel reads very much those people who worked in corporate America for a long time and then realized that it was sucking their soul out. So then they stopped doing corporate and then they became all about like mindfulness and meditation. And they spent all this time going to brown people countries to learn spirituality and to find themselves. It's given a little eat, pray, love.
Okay.
And this, I'm not saying that's the case here, but the way he speaks about it speaks a little bit like people who were like all grind set, and then they're like, no, fuck the
Hmm.
grind set. We're going all, you know, Hare Krishna
It's
spirituality
oh my
teas.
god.
That's just how it reads to me.
Okay. No, I mean, you're not far off from when he has his little date with Adonis, honestly, which is the crazy part.
Yes. So Dr. Dilf calls him a balding twunk, which kills me.
Read the
And he
girls.
chooses Adonis for his date. Vic is cracking at this point because it's evident that Adonis and Patrick are going to vibe. On this date, I have feelings.
Yeah, feelings. I mean, I wrote down a little joke about my feelings, but what are your feelings?
It just feels a little chasery, just
Okay,
a
that's
little
kind of what
bit.
I wrote down.
It's
Yeah.
just a little chaser. All my exes are Latino, but then he says not all my exes, but he started off saying all his exes are Latino, and that's just
Then he said most people I've dated. Like that's a
yeah.
real
Most people I've dated, it's very Latin lover. It's very that, you know.
Latin
I just
leche?
yeah, it's it just reads like that. I'm like, oh god, here we go. Anytime a white man is like, oh, I love Latinos, I'm like, here we
I know you
go.
do.
Here
I
we
wrote here
go.
that he was living his foreskin fantasy, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Foreskin
Hmm.
Mafia. Boom.
Boomer Banks, we love you.
Yeah. But, you know, if Adonis is feeling it, you like it, I love it, girl, right? Boom. They have a decent date.
No.
Next, we get this human statue challenge where they have to make a statue in groups using items around the house that express their journeys in the mansion, except for Pat, who's alone and doing a statue that expresses his journey to the house.
Mhm.
Um, the reason Pat's working alone is because he's new, and so Vic and Adonis are working together by default, whereas everyone else is with the daddy or
Who they're
himbo
paired
that
with.
they are paired with. I love Willem showing up with three tits. It's very Total Recall.
Hmm.
You know, love that. And she's in the Astro Boy boots, which I know you hate.
Thank you, because I was about to bring up how much I hate those
You
fucking
hate the Astro
boots.
Boy boots. I love them. I love them.
I honestly, I think I've been so traumatized by them. I didn't see them until my boyfriend pointed them out to me. Then the camera panned down to the shoes to get a wide shot, and I was like, "These fucking boots, they haunt
It's the
me
boots,
every single
man.
day. They haunt me."
Yeah.
I'm surprised you don't have a pair and you don't like squeak over to my apartment,
Girl,
honestly.
they so expensive. I'm not getting a pair of those. If
Hmm.
if I had the cash for it, I would. I think they're fun. I love them. I want to look like Astro Boy. I would imagine a little Astro Boy cosplay where I get like that the really shiny
The
hair.
little, I
Hmm.
mean, it would be very con. I will say that.
Yeah, and a little pair, you know, a little pair of swimming trunks, and ding, maybe be cute. This challenge
uh,
is weird. It's weird.
yeah,
It's fun, but it's weird.
I tried to write notes for it, but it just it felt like an out of nowhere challenge. Like I feel like the other things, like the rowing across the lake and not ending up at the hospital to like get the underwear and come back. Like I feel like the other challenges kind of made sense, but this one felt kind of weird for
I
me.
feel like they were trying to capture that lighting in the bottle of like when they had to paint Stormy from in season
Oh,
one.
okay.
Was that season one or
Now that
season
she's
two? Season
season
two.
two. Mhm.
Yeah, like they try to do like an art thing, right? So I feel like they were trying because that challenge I loved. I thought that challenge was
That
great.
was a great challenge.
So I think they were trying to do something similar to that, which I understand why you would want something
Okay.
like that. I didn't hate this challenge. I just thought it was a little interesting. We're gonna run through the couples. I don't have so much written for all of these. Adonis and Vic did sex in Olympus. I said it's very expressive. I don't know if it really has a lot to say about the house. And for something called Sex at Olympus, there's not a lot of sex happening.
What you mean sex? Adonis busting it open.
I guess. I don't know. Is that sex?
I
Him and
mean,
shit.
Victor will find sex in it because he says he didn't want to see the tragedy that was David in the other competitors. And also, all the other couples didn't do any work because they were making out the whole time.
Queer people love to they love to talk about doing the work. Girl, doing the work, do them dishes.
Victor was walking children in nature, okay?
Yeah. Tell socks to do the dishes and pay rent. All right. Let's talk about doing that work. I did think they did the best. Second best, maybe, because I think I would have chosen Tony and Jay. because it was comedic. It was funny. And
Hmm.
I think you should approach all of these. From
Make me
this
laugh.
the past 17 years of watching Drag Race, right? I think we should
Uh,
always approach these with comedy first. Um, that being said, I like that they had outfits on, like they put together the togas, and
they did.
everyone else had David and Steph had outfits and things like that. But I like that they kind of
Mhm.
went the extra bit to make it look more like a stat. Like, yeah, a toga on a statue. You're evoking ancient Greek statues. It feels very, fitting for the challenge.
I will say Victor did make me a little mad this episode, but I got to give the girl the tens with the
Oh
tens as
yeah,
well.
I gotta you exactly,
Like
exactly.
it
It
was
pissed me
good.
off, but I'll give him this one. He ate this one up.
I won't smile, but I'll clap for you.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give him a little golf clap. That little clap Dumbledore does.
The oh,
Wait, no, Dumbledore does this one sometimes.
is it this one?
Yeah, he clapping like
Is it
this.
the
I'm like, that's the gayest clap ever.
the clap is coded?
Yeah, Tony and Jay have eat the booty like groceries. The apple on the ass is killing me, and them holding the scene, like just them sitting there, like it was
Did you get
funny.
my good side?
Yeah, it may not have been super creative, but it did make me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have done a similar route in terms of like doing something more comedic for a statue
Mm-hmm.
rather than something like artsy, or you know what I mean?
I would definitely gone comedy or just go something sexy. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
sexy or
comedy
comedy.
over sexy. But I think for me, art would have been the bottom because it's like it's just so vague. Like, is it going to translate well on screen? If like that's also the hard part of art.
Exactly. Whereas comedy, you could make, you are dressed up standing still. That alone is comedy there. You're like, you are being the living
Mm-hmm.
statue. That alone is like comedic in itself in a situational kind of way. So I would have leaned further into the comedy of it all. Um, yeah, I think if I was like Timmy, I maybe would have done something with like the Dr. Dill phone. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Yes, yes.
Yeah, because that's like a relevant prop. Moving on to David and Steph, they did hard choices create a strong foundation. This is the one that got the girls moving. I thought it was camp
Mm,
because David presented it like an actual art piece. And I thought this was a complete joke until the end, where he kind of like doubles down on like, maybe not everyone else did it as artistically as we did. Like he doubled down on it being an earnest artistic decision and not him just like
mhm.
poking fun at the house and the situations they're in. I think
What
if
were
he
the
had
situations?
the Twinkie pink balloon and the bandaged truck, which I
And
think
the
if he played this off as a joke and not super earnest,
Mhm.
everyone wouldn't have been like, you know what I mean? I
The
think if
girls
they
were
had,
kind of aghast.
they were gassed. I thought it would have been better played off as a joke because it would have been something to giggle about, right?
Hmm. I don't
Yeah.
know. As I was watching it, if he did play it off, would have been like, "Oh, haha, you're funny." But me, like, bitch, a Twinkie pink balloon. I've been like, "What the fuck? Excuse me?"
It is shady. It is shady. And I think, because you know me, I love to, serve her with a spoon of sugar. And I think if you played it off like a joke, you could have been
Hmm.
shady while have still, made everyone giggle a bit
I agree.
versus saying this is complete art. So yeah, I think if they had played this off as a joke, it would have been better. I also don't know why him holding the heart statue above his head, it looks like he's about to bash Steph over the head with it, or over the hole, because Steph's upside
Oh,
down.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh,
yeah, and Nick is
scary
not
sight.
happy about this. Nick is
Are you
pissed.
insulting my twink? Like he was. Mm-mm.
I
He was
also
daddy ready to step in.
I just didn't think it was that serious.
It wasn't super, super serious, but Nick was up in arms. Like he is the daddy that stepped up. That's who
I
he is.
guess. That's why I just think he should have played. I think David and Steph should have played it off more for comedic value. Like,
Hmm.
I think have David have the pinky twink balloon and have Steph have the rock and like play this really like like the
Oh,
like the pulling of it. You know what I mean? I think it could have been played for more comedic effect.
okay, okay. I like your idea. That was a good one.
That's just me. Robert and Samuel do my face, my back, my shoulders, and my crack. Samuel is living for the drama. This is the drama that I thought David was tapping into when he was presenting the piece. Because Samuel was like, this is a piece about an injured daddy. It's based on a true story. Like that drama, honey.
The delivery, like that's
The
a theater queen
delivery,
right
like it was
there.
killing me. He said he was tapping into Juilliard performance. Like this is what I like. He was living in the camp of it. This is what I wanted. You know, like it was
Hmm.
killing me.
This is what I
He's
want to see.
he's got the eye drop. I think the eye drop was probably the best part of this. Was like the eyedropper and like kind of like the
The fainting, the
it was like kind of like the Lucifer crying, you know, kind of painting.
oh
It was very
yes.
kind of that. That's what I was getting. But then when they zoom out, it kind of falls apart. I think zoomed in, it's really pretty. Then you zoom out and it's fully them just laying on the ground. It's just,
It was
it's
it
silly.
was great. I honestly, you know what? No, I'll save my opinion for later. I was gonna give
Okay.
like my top and my number
Um,
one and number two
all right, well, I don't have much written for Nick and Timmy and Patrick's, but I will say,
with
I
great
think
vulnerability comes strength.
Robert and Samuels, as a viewer of the show, I get it. I do see, however, how Willem, as an impartial judge, not really paying attention to like what has happened prior to this, and just
Hmm.
walking in and seeing these two bitches laying on the floor, I could see why Willem would not have resonated with it as much. You know what I mean? And I guess as a statue, you kind of want to resonate with whoever's looking at you, but I guess not all art has to
Hmm.
resonate with everyone. I don't know. Nick and Timmy did great. With great vulnerability comes strength. Girl, the ripping of the wallpaper. Where did they get this wallpaper from?
That's a good question. Did they just have rolls of it in the back? Because Nick said they're supposed to be ripping the wallpaper off of each other. And then he's like, Timmy just jumped on my back and was like ripping it on my chest, like very Superman coded.
Crazy. I was cackling.
Um,
This thing looks insane. What is this?
they had fun with it though.
They
Like
did
they were
have
just
fun.
laughing, and that
Oh,
made me laugh.
they had a blast this whole episode. They were just cackling the whole time,
Hmm.
and I can appreciate that. Patrick did corporate to naughty, suit to jockstrap. And this is where I was like, this is kind of giving ex corporate turns
It's
mindfulness, eat, pray, love,
hmm
go to a brown country, find my spirituality. You know what I mean? I
worked 27 years at Netflix. Now she's a yogi. Like,
listen. He tried. I'll give him that. He tried. He's new in the
mhm.
house. You know, he tried. Um,
Oh, with this one, he didn't give a name for his statue. What would you have named it?
I thought he said it was corporate to naughty. I thought that was the name.
Oh, shit, cut that out because I gave a name to a Business and Pleasure EP by Azalea Banks, but
Oh, business and pleasure. Are we ever getting it? No, that's the real tea. That's the real tea. Is it ever coming out?
parentheses unreleased.
Unreleased. Vic and Adonis win to nobody's, you know, kind of surprise. And Vic is jumping for joy. I wrote here, David's cooked. He's over.
Yeah, that's the moment my boyfriend was like, it's over for David, end of the road. Victor was basically foaming at the mouth,
Yeah.
waiting to just he wanted to say David right
Waiting.
then.
Yeah. Yeah. He keeps being like, you know, I haven't made my decision yet. It's okay. We know you've made your decision. We know. And then they're doing a cottagecore date later tonight, and Patrick, because he's the newest, gets to visit everyone else's date. He doesn't do it. He doesn't do it.
You know what? I will give it to these producers trying to make the Phoenix moment happen again because that is lightning in a bottle that should be redone every
Yes,
season.
and but the thing is no one ever wants to commit like Phoenix did, and that's the problem. Is no one wants to commit like Phoenix.
I
You
kind of feel
know,
like, girl, if you've already gone this far and like did the audition tape, flew out to the mansion, like did the show, just get your screen time. I mean, do you get more money
well, listen,
if you
that's
do more
because
stuff?
Phoenix is the blue ivy of For the Love of DILFs. This is a bitch who can perform. Phoenix is a consummate professional. When you tell Phoenix to
Mhm.
visit each date, he's gonna make sure each date pops off. He's gonna make sure each date is a show. He's gonna make sure that we stick around and watch the dates. Patrick said,
Mhm.
"Let me just show up to the two that are making the decision and try to plead for my life." But that's we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Well, yeah.
I just no one's doing it like Phoenix. You know, this is
No.
no one's doing it like her. No, people were leaving the house to avoid trying to do that. Phoenix said, "No, I'll
If
do
that
it."
ain't an icon moment right there,
Icon.
it's
Yup.
Phoenix. Okay.
Yup.
Well, we gotta go because I'll cry about Phoenix all
I
day.
I do think, however, it may have been more interesting and more drama filled to have
Mhm.
Victor pop in on everyone's dates. Like, let Adonis and Patrick
Mm.
have the date together and have Victor, as someone who has the power to send someone home, have him pop in on every single date. I
Ooh,
think that would have been a little more
that would have been some juicy TV right
that would
there.
have been, yeah, that would have really stirred the pot a little bit, you know. Also Adonis keeps dropping hints that he's single. He's like Kim Kardashian. He was doing it in the date with
Well,
Patrick earlier. He's doing it now here. He's very much like, you know, I'm single. I'm single. Just letting you know I'm single.
pushing Victor's head. Like, I'm
Yeah, I'm
single. Like
single. I don't know her. Uh
that is pretty funny.
watch it back. I noticed even more on my second watch.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, Adonis is really kind of like really making sure that Patrick knows I'm single. Killed me. Take me. In the daddy's den, Patrick feels like he's the youngest of the old heads. He feels a little odd, but you know, then the daddies get to talking. So Tony asks Vic how he's feeling as far as eliminations go, and I think you said it best when Victor pulls this stunt.
Victor was living his all stars drag race fantasy. Like, you know, we're not going to talk about how I'm feeling, but I do want to talk to the daddies about how they're feeling. And I'll speak to you all individually right here, starting with you, David.
Yup.
Um, listen, I gotta give a clap for that. That was cut.
That
I
was
was kind of
good.
living for it.
That was good. I said, wow.
It was
He's
good.
living his journey. This is the fantasy. He's really,
She's been
taking us
waiting for
on the
this since
ride.
episode one.
Oh yeah, it's like he's gonna make this a production. A production. Um, wow. David says he feels like he's hit a stride in connecting with Steph. He feels like he did send home Danny, but he did save Adonis, so I don't know. It kind of feels like he's grasping at straws in this situation, which is tough. I feel like I would probably be grasping
Mhm.
at straws too, because what do you say in this situation? You sent home the man's himbo.
Yeah, like what do you tell the girl that handles the booking who you spilled a drink on? Like, what can I say to you in this moment that will make you love me?
I think the only way
And
you can really do is make an alliance out of the situation. You go to him and you go, everyone thinks we hate each other. And to be fair, I don't like you. But you know what? We can use this to our advantage. You send home Patrick, you got me in your pocket. I'll make sure we make it to the top.
that's the challenge way. That's the survivor way. That is the House of Villains way to do it.
No one will see it coming because we don't like each other, but we will work with each other to win this. You know, that's the only thing I could have seen David doing.
It
To
was the
like,
heat of the moment. And also, like, a bag is a bag. Listen, the goal is a relationship, but also let's not forget that $10,000, you
oh
know?
yeah, oh yeah. I just, and I mean, that's tough. That's a tough situation to be in. So I get it. But,
Mhm.
Vic says, you ripped out my heart. I have right here, non binary hole does have that effect. You ripped out my heart.
As someone who was trapped by a non-binary hole this summer, yeah, it gets
Yeah.
you. Once you in it, it's so hard to escape.
Good luck.
They just kept clinching. I mean, it was so hard to
Uh
escape.
huh. Vic says, if I save you, focus on Steph. Don't focus on strategy. Don't do none of that games, none of that bullshit. Lead with love. He says he hasn't made his decision. I'm like, girl, you've made the decision. You've made the decision.
30 seconds in, when they were showing the previously on For the Love of DILFs, Victor made the decision. I'll
He
be
made
real.
yeah, he made the decision as Danny was going home. I just he was talking about courting, and this is what I don't understand.
Oh, the courting thing.
Girl, this 1700s, this is so old. When I said this is what the Puritans were saying, I was not lying. He's like, I think you can court multiple people at the same time. I don't think courting means you're automatically exclusive with the person that you're seeing. And he keeps saying 4 other guys, but I'm like, girl, count the numbers. It's 2 guys, and 2 guys that he was vibing with. It's not like it was 2 strangers or anything like that. It wasn't like he was vibing with Timmy and just made out with, I mean, technically they're all strangers because they've known each other for like a week and a half, but these are 2 people that he was interested in and vibing with. So I don't know. It's
And you
just
know what?
dated.
Production clocked the T because Dr. Dilf also came in and said it was actually 2, but I'm terrified of you, so I'll leave it alone.
He is a little scary in this episode. He's got the power in his hand. It's going to his head.
Mhm.
When they said that that David was going to let the power go to his head last episode, I feel like we're seeing actually kind of the opposite happen
David
out
was chill
now.
about it.
Yeah. At least that's from what we saw on camera. David may have been a monster off camera. Could you imagine if he was like, I'm talking to each of you individually?
The gaggery.
That would have been wild. But yeah, I mean, from what we're just seeing on camera, it seems like the power play is happening this episode actually. Um David says, I'm gonna sit with this. I'm not gonna make you this promise because that would be disingenuous, which fair.
Be real.
That's fair. And I think Victor actually respects when he says that. I think that is the time where they both go, you know what? We see each other on this.
Mhm.
So
I
I'll
still
let
don't
them
like
have
you,
that.
but you know what? I
Oh,
get you.
yeah, exactly. And I feel like that could have been the moment to put in the twist and be like, alliance. This is me, I'm dastardly.
I mean, listen, you know what? Maybe we'll have this alliance moment in For the Love of DILFs All Stars. So
Oh, mm-hmm.
manifesting it.
And for the love of DILF, some stars where we go on.
Okay, Drag Race. I see you.
We're like it could be like celebrity DILF mansion.
So,
But we're like Z-list celebrity. And you know, like they put us in DILF drag for one episode. We're in the
DILF
suits of
drag. They make you a
armors.
daddy and they make me a himbo. Oh my
Exactly.
god.
We roll swap. It's like wife swap. Victor also talks to Patrick, and Victor's kind of put in the this is the one thing that I was like, maybe Victor isn't going to choose David. He's kind of putting the pieces together. He's like, I'm himboless. You're new. The himbo wants you. Therefore, you're a threat.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
And then he leaned into that when he was asking him questions about Adonis, and he was like, I hope you aren't judging the himbos based off their appearance. And then in the
Girl.
confessional, I'm gonna see what he knows. And then 2 seconds later, he don't know nothing.
But what does he know about Adonis?
They just had like one date.
If that, they probably sat there sitting on their thumbs.
Oh,
But Pat says he was attracted to Adonis because he's a good looking guy. And I was like, the second he said, I said, oh no, he does not know how to talk to Victor. Victor
Mhm.
hates that. He hates that. If you're talking to Victor, you got to put on the drama. You got to say that Adonis's spirit spoke to you through his eyes and drew you toward him. You know what I mean? That's the kind of way you got to talk to Victor.
That's what I want in my poem.
Exactly. You can't just say
Like,
he was good looking, so I chose him for the date. Victor hates that. You can't say shit like that because that pings in his head. Attraction, sex, bed bugs, evil homosexuals. That's what that in his mind. That's what's going through his head.
where's my Bible right now? Like that was such a you are the Inquisition right now. That's
I'm
what you were
telling you,
giving.
666 bottoms up and the devil laughs.
Oh my god.
All right. It's so crazy that Victor has these types of feelings the whole time Danny in confessionals is talking about tight Asian hole.
the the dichotomy of man and they.
It's because Victor just has this like idealized version of Danny as like this like tiny little like blessed creature that Danny is. Whole time Danny's like tight Asian hole, you know? Like
Literally the whole time Danny, my pussy talk English, Spanish, and French, like twerking upside down. Like that's the real Danny.
exactly. If only Danny knew that Vic's talking about bed bugs everywhere. Apparently, there's an infestation in the mansion. Who knows? It's just we can't. Anyway, we get some interstitial shots of the guys playing pool and Nick and Timmy are making out, and then we move on to the cottage core party. Do you know what cottage core is? When they said this, what were you thinking?
I was getting like old school Tumblr, like literally cottage in the woods, lots of greenery everywhere, animals outside. Like I'm thinking kind of like Snow White, mini house. That's what I was getting with
Yeah,
cottage
when I
core.
think cottage core, I think big, kind of like fluffy, cozy-ish kind of dresses and aprons and little toadstool
Mm,
mushrooms
okay.
and coffee or like tea, no tea specifically actually,
Hmm.
and lots of wood and things like that. I think they tried to do that, and I think what we got was a do-over of season two's sleepover party.
Roll back the tapes. Are the sheets the same? I have to look at the color
I
scheme.
don't know. I don't
I'd never thought
know.
about that until you said it.
I don't know. I said this is just the sleepover theme, down to the doing the kinky stuff again.
Yeah.
And we didn't even
I
get an
will
instructor
say
this time.
it's the massage from season 1 all over again. Wait, now that I'm thinking about it, cottage is a very green color. Like it's very like white and
This was
green and stuff. It was blue and white, right?
it was blue and white.
Okay.
Oh, I think they would have had an easier time setting up a cottagecore thing in one of the rooms in the mansion, actually.
Ooh, yeah.
Because then you can set up some like darker colored sheets and maybe more like
Mhm.
flowers and maybe, you know, like things that make it look like a cottage. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It felt like kind of like fairy, and they did it in that area outside that has all like the white columns and stuff like that. So that
Hmm.
automatically brings you to kind of like a Grecian kind of theme.
Yeah, I was getting Grecian
And
as
we
you
had
said
the
that.
statues earlier. I think we should have just done like a Greek theme.
Did we already do a toga party thing? I know we did an underwear party, but I feel
They
like maybe
did well
toga.
because the underparty was Greek life, so it was like frat themed,
Okay,
right? So I feel like this could have
got you.
been Greek history, like ancient
Yeah,
Greece themed. I think it would have been
it would have matched with
fitting.
the statues.
Oh yeah,
Stat.
fully.
Mhm. Well,
Let's run through these dates. Tony and Jay. So not only is this a cottagecore party, it's a kinky party. Jay is testing different sensations on Tony. They talk about what it's like meeting new partners, having the expectations. And I'm feeling for Tony here. He's talking about his trust issues. He talks about being black in the gay community and in the bear community, how people want him for sex, but then they date literally everyone else except for him. You know, like they just go to date other white people and stuff like that. So that's what being fetishized. This is a very big problem.
it is a big problem. As someone who is black and in the gay community, aspiring bear, it yeah, it kind of sucked. I was waiting for you to say something. I was like, let me like stall until you pick it
No, I
up.
was over here like, oh, this is very earnest. You know, we're about to get some real stuff here. That I hear, wait, what?
No, it's real. Like I can't tell you how many times I've gotten message on like Grinder or like even Blue Sky or on Twitter, like people, I want your BBC, and I'm like immediate block.
Hmm.
I brought this up before, but it's still a
Yeah,
problem
or
now.
people,
It's
you know, messaging you about like the kind of like the Latin lover stereotype and
or
wanting that
that.
poppy, or you know, oh, you know how to do that. You know, it's very that, you know.
It's just it's frustrating. Like want me for me, not the color of my skin and like, all the other bits and pieces,
Yeah,
Just be
yeah.
real.
Be real. Jay talks about wanting the white fantasy kind of when he first, you know, came to America, was seeing that as kind of the ideal of what he wanted, and then dating that and getting that and being like, wait, actually, there's so much more than this. This isn't what I want. This is not
Hmm.
this is not my truth, you know. And I think this rings true for a lot of people. A
There's
lot of
like
people
been
kind of deal with this.
there's a lot of think pieces all over the internet about the proximity to whiteness when it's a POC dating someone white. Like it's been extensively studied and researched.
Oh yes. But then they flip the vibe and they
Hmm.
end it with a steamy makeout session. And when I say steamy, bitch, I mean steamy.
It
Steamy. They get hot and
was
heavy.
it was very hot. I just as I was watching the scene, honestly, it was like that TikTok of like the woman getting up in the car and like the pussy making the cat noise. That was me on my couch. Like it's so
Yeah,
hot. I love seeing them make out.
it's that. Um, let's talk about Robert and Samuel. Bring us through the state.
Robert and Sam, this was they've been having moments of like have been having deeper talks and things throughout the episode, but I feel like it really came to a head here when
Hmm.
Robert talked about how he felt Sam was pulling away from him after the stuff, like, your daddy wants me, he doesn't want anything to do with you. I was paraphrasing. But honestly, if I was in Sam's shoes, I would kind of pull back after hearing that too, because it puts that doubt in your
I
head.
have that same thing written.
We've been filming like 7 a.m. to like 11 at night. We don't get no breaks. We don't get no food. I'm lying. I'm making that up. Don't
I'm
call
sure
OSHA.
that from what we heard, they get fed very well. Which they got
But
second dinner, but I don't even got second. You know what I mean? I could
I
just
ain't
make
got second
myself
dinner.
second dinner. Second dinner for me is when I take the fiber to qualm the hunger when it's like 3 in the morning and I'm like, I shouldn't eat right now, right?
But yeah, I can see why Sam might pull away a little bit, and I can also understand why Robert's a little like, Kiki, do you still love me? So
Oh yeah.
I
I mean,
really hope they
if
get on the up and
someone
up.
comes to you as a woman and says he don't want you, he does not want to move forward with you, he wants to move forward with me, he does not like you. That would sit in the back of my mind too.
Absolutely.
Oh
Like,
yes.
and they had to sit with this for like a whole week, actually more than a week. So like they've been in that mansion for a long time.
But then this happened like only 2 days ago.
What do you mean? It was like 2 weeks ago. They said it was 2 weeks. They don't lie on reality television.
Well, meanwhile, everyone's like, let's talk about the situation from yesterday.
Let me live in my fantasy.
My biggest critique about this date, they didn't do the
Mhm.
kinky stuff.
That's the kinky stuff I wanted to see, honestly. I mean, Sam is,
Yeah.
and
I
Robert is,
I
ooh,
was
like
waiting for something to come out, but no, they had an earnest conversation. How dare they?
they didn't even show all of Sam's crack earlier in the challenge. So,
Come on, come on. Nick
Robin,
and Timmy are having a blast. They're giggling. They're having fun. They're trying to do the kinky stuff where they keep giggling, which I think is fair because when you think about it, you're doing quote unquote kinky things on front of the cameras on a date on a reality show. Like just take all the piss out of it. They're just having a good time. The one thing
mhm.
that I did not like from this though,
I think I
if
know what you're gonna
Nick
say.
ends up being one of those "I'm a man, don't call me a girl" gays, I'm gonna take issue. I
That's why
hate those gays.
that's why I covered my mouth in the very beginning because I was just like, oh, I got things to say.
I hate those
Um,
gays. Girl, it's never that
yeah.
serious. You know I'm a man, right? Yeah, no shit, Rebecca.
It
Piss me
just
off.
it made me mad. I remember. Oh
This one, I feel like
no,
I'm
it's
being
gonna be a
super
little
negative this
shady.
episode, but this episode, like everyone just kept pissing me
They pissed me
off.
off. I
Ah, now
I
I
met
see why Bobby
someone
stopped doing the
here.
recaps.
Oh, leave it in, clip it.
It's
You never
staying
let me
in.
escape. I remember I met someone here in the city who was also like that. I remember I brought up like all the girlies in the club, and then they were just like, "You mean all the boyies?" And I was immediately just turned
No,
off. I was just like,
no,
"What?"
no. I
I
said
hated
what I
it.
said. Fag. Oh.
Oh, okay, that's
like
literally
it's
that's
just so,
gross.
like we are all like, ooh, it's so stupid.
Okay, so there was a moment in one of my favorite gay reality shows called The Outs. It's a little web show. One of the main characters, their boss was coming around, and the character was just like, "Hey, yeah, girl, get back to work." And then the boss was like, "Don't call me girl, Mitchell."
Oh,
And then they had a little conversation, and then the boss was like, "No, get back to work, faggot." And it was
it's
just that's
well,
what it reminded
see,
me of. Just don't call me girl. Now bend it
yeah.
over. Like,
Like we're all out here sucking dick. Like if you can't take being called girl, maybe this just not for you. Maybe it's not for you. You know,
mm-hmm.
it's just I don't know. Whatever. Steph and David.
Moving on.
David's living for this. He is the deviant gentleman. You know, this is
Mm-hmm.
his moment. This is his moment to shine. Steph says he enjoys being dominant though, and they start going at it. Um, when Steph said he likes being dominant, sometimes I was expecting Steph to start pulling out some of the kinky shit and put on the blindfold and do all that stuff. I mean, he grabbed David hard, but I
But can we
want to.
talk about the grab though? Because it
Oh
was a grab on the back of the neck, and it
yes.
wasn't like the front of the neck or the like cheek. It was like the entire like
Oh
Steph's hand
yes.
on David's face. It covered like half his face,
Girl, it's like
and then the
palming a
back of the neck.
volleyball.
And I was like, Steph, fly to Chicago
Oh
immediately.
yes, no,
Grip
I
me
thought it. I thought
like
it was
that.
hot. I thought it was hot. I just wanted to see more of the like. Let's flip the script a bit. I wanted to see him put the blindfold on David and then do all that. You know what I mean? That I think
Oh,
that would have like for me, raised the stakes a little bit.
okay.
I think
I'm
that
always
that
about
would have
raising a
been.
state.
Oh yeah, yeah. When I see Count Orlok
And that's
and I'm raising a steak. Oh my god.
that was a good one.
God. Okay, Adonis and Victor. Let's talk to me about
I
this
put
date. Date and date is in quotation marks.
honestly, what I wrote is Victor is just foaming at the mouth to talk about David. It was just the foam was dripping on me. It was again, it was palpable through the television screen.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really feel like it was much of a
It wasn't
date.
a date. No.
Like literally, that's what I have it right here. Victor is foaming at the mouth.
I
Yeah,
wrote Vic is like, all right, we don't have a date. Let's get into this. Let's talk about who we're sending home. You know, and like that's kind
this
of
was the
it.
business. That's what it was.
And then Patrick shows up and pleads his case to the two, and he's nervous because he self sabotages a bit. Which, hey, listen, understandable, right? It happens. It's
Hmm.
hard, especially coming to this mansion. You don't know nobody. You're wondering, are they going to send me home? Like the comedian in season 2 that showed up for an episode, caused some drama, and left immediately.
The hot lawyer.
The hot lawyer who I said looked like my pediatrician.
I'm not forgetting that one either. That was ingrained into me.
Never forget that. But did Patrick sit on any of these other dates? No, I wanted my Phoenix moment.
I wonder if he did it off camera and they just had so much other footage that they had to cut some of
That's
it,
what
or if
I'm
he just didn't do
wondering.
it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like he did it, but then like none of the footage ended up being like good enough or just cut for time. So much of this stuff gets cut for time.
Mhm.
They're filming all day. We're trying to fit stuff into like a 40-minute episode. Like I get it. It's tough to get all this shit in there. So maybe it was just like maybe he did sit on everyone's dates and it was just cut for time. Which
I'll wait for the uncut
that
version of
might
the
be
show.
on Patrick for not bringing because Phoenix said you're not gonna cut this shit for time. I'm gonna make sure this gets aired.
A quote for every date. It was just,
A
it was a
quote
masterclass
for
in
it
acting.
was like it's my favorite episode of season 1. Like it's so good. We move on to the elimination. Stormy comes in. I have right here. Why is she dressed like Galadriel?
Is
It's
that a
get it's the Lord of the Rings. She, it's Kate
uh
Blanchett in the Lord of the Rings. She's given very much in place of a dark lord. You would have a queen, not dark but terribly beautiful, treacherous
okay?
as the sea. All will love me and despair. And then she snaps back.
Ooh,
You gotta watch Lord of the Rings. It's kind of
I've never seen a single Lord of the Rings, never a single Star Wars, but that's another.
oh my god, we gotta get you
I
on this.
know. I wrote that Stormy came in a Baldur's Gate 69 theme outfit. It was just something
Yeah.
about the jeweled headband. It always screams fantasy to me.
It
Like,
does. And I get it. It was like, okay, cottage core. Okay, sure.
mhm.
I think instead we should have just done like a Renaissance fair kind of date. Let's do
Okay.
that. Let's do like a medieval Renaissance date. I know you can rent those crossbows. And like you can, because like an archery kind of thing, like if they want it,
Do
because
they work?
they love a carnival date, right? They love a carnival date. And every
Okay.
time I go to the Renaissance fair, they have these kind of like axe throwing, but you have the crossbow and you have to aim it at the thing and you
Mhm.
shoot it. I think season
That
4,
sounds
y'all need to do a
fun.
Renaissance fair date. You know what I mean? And then you have to have a Mario and I there, just dressed as
Mhm.
little adjusters. That's it. I don't want to judge that. We could just be jesters.
Just
Just we'll come up here and do a little thing.
yeah. Hmm.
That's all I want.
Please, please, we beg you.
We're begging.
David's begging for
Adonis.
his life.
David's begging for his life. Adonis says his piece, which pretty much contains, "Hi, I hate this. You're all great. I love y'all. But anyway, I won the challenge. So don't take anything personal. Anyway, Victor, take it away."
Yeah. Victor just pushes him to the side, steps in front. And Victor says, I want to say that this was the most difficult, I'm looking around, elimination of the season, but honestly, it was the easiest choice I've ever made.
He said, "In his
I
life."
His life, not just the show, in his life.
In his life, girl, the drama of it all.
Crazy.
The drama. I can live. I'm living for the drama here. It is.
It was
This
it
is what
was
I
so
like.
good.
This is what I like to see in an elimination. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Like this daddy believes in the magic of love, and I truly hope that they find that magic and that love in the truck stop bathroom where they're headed tonight that's full of bed bugs. Like it was the
Crazy.
moment cleared. Give her the stage, the Oscar, the Emmy.
This is
Um,
giving the likes of like Buy Pumpkin. You know what I mean? This is New York sending
it
people home.
is.
Like it is that level of high drama. I live for that.
Mhm.
Live for that. The problem I take is the very thinly veiled STD metaphor wherein we say that bed bugs are filled in the truck stop bathroom. There's no bed bugs in the truck
Mhm.
stop bathroom. You know what I mean? And I'm like, if this is any indicator of how you navigate your queer life and go in queer spaces, talking
Mhm.
about bed bugs in every single place where people are hugging and kissing, I don't know if I want to be around you like that. You know, like the queer community has been fighting for years against the stigma for STDs. And now we're going to talk about all these bed bugs, you know. And you know, the only reason
What
he's
was
saying
that?
bed bugs is because they probably told him he can't say STDs.
Mm. Bug chaser. Let me fill out another word. Bed bug. That's what he did.
Yeah, bed bug chaser. Yeah. It's
And
just
just
all a very thinly veiled. It's just ugh. It just gave me like the chills.
I hated it.
David gets the chop. He gets his little post mortem. Victor is flipping his hands like this the whole
As
time.
as David's literally telling his life story, like I really value the relationships I've made here, and Victor in the back is just wrap it up, wrap it up.
Crazy. Bye, pumpkin. Bye, pumpkin. You know?
And that wasn't even it. Actually, that was the first thing because David brought up other things, and then he brought up the relationships, and then Victor was
Yeah.
like it was. I noticed the face
Yep.
on my second watch. The hands the first time, but it was.
And then to top it all off, Victor says in his confessionals, I can't wait to get to know Steph, my fast fashion girly, and I hope he likes chocolate. I have written here in all caps, this is absolutely bonkers. I'm screaming. It comes off so weird. It like
It,
made me uncomfortable. Like, ew, why are you talking about him like that?
I mean, I texted you earlier today as I rewatched it. I was like, if someone called me a fast fashion girly, I would be so offended. Like, bitch, this is not fucking Sheen. Like, how dare
Right,
you?
like this is leak. Come on, I had to wait for this
This
order to get fulfilled.
this is Uniqlo, okay? Like, that another fast fashion. um, yeah, I'd be offended. And also, can we talk about the self fetishization? Like, I hope he likes chocolate. Like, ew. I'm sorry, I have to say ew. I would
It
never speak
just,
about
I,
myself like that.
Steph said it best. He was like, "I'm. There's no way I'm letting us be put together for the next challenge. It's not happening. I'd rather find another daddy. Hell, I'd rather leave. You gonna try to put me
Mhm.
with this man just because we're the only two without a himbo or a daddy? No, not happening.
It's giving like a match in Marvel Rivals where you get stomped the first round, someone starts talking shit, and it's like, girl, you think we're gonna win now? Like, I'm actually purposely going to throw this
Oh,
match just
now I'm
because.
throwing. We only had the one
Mm-hmm.
healer, girl. Now we got zero healers. How about that?
Hmm.
Yup.
Pure
Mm-mm.
chaos.
Yeah. Pure chaos.
Can we get a Country Wanda skin now?
I'm
Like,
screaming the perfect hex. But just as David's leaving, he says this stuff about Nick and how Nick is a huge gossip and pretends to be everyone's friends and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, my
mhm.
God, wow, this is like,
This came out of nowhere.
this feels like it's coming out of left field. The only thing we've gotten of Nick that's like kind of like, you know, work pussy diva, you know, the only thing we've gotten from him from that is I will be pursuing Timmy today, which he kind of ate
Mhm.
that one up.
Did.
I'm like, I wish we kind of had seen more of this on camera. I feel like this would have been a really interesting narrative of like playing the bachelor to everyone's face and then being the traitors in the back. You know, I kind of wanted to see that dichotomy.
Ooh. Yeah, I want to see more of that. Maybe they'll show it more in the next
I mean,
episode, or
we
maybe
still have a couple episodes left, so maybe
or you know what? The reunion.
or that.
The reunion.
And then the phone starts ringing.
The
The
phone
phone
is
starts ringing. The
ringing.
phone is ringing. Yeah,
Wait,
the
can I say that?
phone.
That's like probably a copyright thing.
Fuck that. Who gives a shit? Timmy's getting the call. I said, "Oh, she's acting. The diva
Hmm.
is acting
She's
down."
very like, hello, who is this? Like,
Dr. Dilf? What's my favorite scary movie? What do you mean?
oh,
Like, it's very that. Yeah. And that's the cliffhanger that we're left off on. I'm very excited for next episode.
because we don't know what was said in the phone call.
Oh, we don't know. What do you think's
They
going to
did,
happen?
they did show a shot of David stopping while he was
Looking
carrying his
back.
suitcase and giving the look back at it.
Uh huh.
Will
What could
David
be
be coming
happening?
back? Will the eliminated daddies and himbos have to do a competition to see who gets back in the house?
I
What's
love
gonna
when it's that.
happen?
I love when it's like an eliminated queen comes back, but they have to fight for the chance to come back. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I do enjoy that.
I want to see the hunger in the girl's eyes. Sorry, the
Yeah.
man's eyes. Sorry.
Oh yeah. We gotta remember they're men. We gotta remember.
They're men.
It's just so. Oh my god. Also, they're not all men. Danny was non-binary, so
Oh.
Let's talk about that.
Is that the gossip that David was talking about?
Oh, maybe before we
The
leave,
slut shaming?
I
The
want to leave y'all with a poem. Witch hunt, bitch hunt. Bedbug spreading is a lie, blunt. Acting like kissing is a crime, stunt. If daddies want himbo, that's a hunt. Send David all home with a punt. Sex negative and queer media, to you I shunt. There's an unt that I'm missing here, but I'll leave that to y'all. The rest of this season is gonna be a ball. Boom. That's the poem. And that's the poem. And with that, Mario, let them know where they can find you.
You can find me being a slut and not feeling ashamed about it on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram at Booty Origami.
Yep. And you can find me slutting out my coffee beans at Krog Hunk. You can follow us at Baby Daddies Pod. And you can follow my other podcast, The Poison Touch Advice Hour, where Gay gives you the best and worst advice to deal with all of life's predicaments, over at Poison Touch Pod, where this week I will be having season 3's very own Justin Gross coming on and helping me get through some New Year's shenanigans. Listen, we got some messy questions. I'll leave y'all with that.
Wait.
So I'm really excited for y'all to hear that episode. It's really fun. Justin's a blast.
We love you, Justin. We missed you. They showed your flashback. I wanted to see more of you.
There he is. With that, we'll see you next time. Why is she dressed like Galadriel?